Welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be looking at data centers today and, all the crazy stuff going on with AI.
Yeah, tons of change happening really fast.
Yeah, so for our listeners out there who want to really, understand what's important, we're going to cut through the hype.
Right to the essentials.
Exactly. And look at what's really going on with all this, the AI boom and all this stuff.
Yeah, all the headlines and everything.
The physical infrastructure that makes all this stuff possible.
Yeah, where the rubber meets the road, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we've got a great report here from the investment bank TD Cowen.
Yeah, they always have really good insights.
And some related news coverage, and we're going to dive into, why is Microsoft changing up how it's leasing data centers?
Yeah, that's a big deal, right?
Huge deal.
Yeah.
And what does it all mean for AI infrastructure?
What's the future look like?
Yeah, what's the future?
Yeah.
So, so the TD Cowen report said that Microsoft has walked away from some huge data center lease negotiations,
Oh, wow.
like big ones in the U.S. and Europe.
That's a lot of space.
Tons of space. And they've either delayed or just completely canceled other lease agreements.
So what's the story there?
Well, the report says it's because they're not supporting additional OpenAI training workloads.
Interesting. So, some people might see that and think, oh, is the AI boom slowing down?
Right. Is this like the AI bust is coming?
An AI bust.
But the report actually suggests something much more interesting, and I think probably more accurate, which is that data centers, as they exist now, just can't handle the power and cooling demands
Of this new AI hardware.
of this new hardware, right?
Yeah, this stuff is just so power hungry.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about like, are people going to use AI? It's about like the physics of running these models.
Well, fundamental physics are changing, yeah.
Yeah, like you need a different kind of data center.
Right, and when you think about Nvidia's new technologies, right?
Oh, yeah?
They're really pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
The NVL72 rack scale system.
I've heard about those.
Yeah, so we're talking potentially 30 times better performance for inference,
Wow.
4 times better for training than their Hopper GPUs.
And just to remind everybody, when we talk about hyperscalers like Microsoft,
Right.
we're talking about those giant cloud providers that, do
They're basically running the world at this point, yeah.
Right, exactly, yeah. So, but all that performance comes at a cost,
Oh, for sure.
and the cost is basically power.
Power and density.
Density, yeah.
The new NVL72 racks, they need 120 kilowatts of power.
120.
That's triple what a typical rack of Hopper GPUs would need.
It's insane.
So yeah, you can't just plug these things in anywhere.
No.
You need some serious infrastructure.
And that brings us to cooling.
Right. Because all that power,
All that heat.
all that heat.
So air cooling just doesn't cut it.
Not anymore.
Liquid cooling's the only way.
Yeah, it's becoming a necessity.
So you can't just like plug this new AI hardware into any old data center.
No.
You need a place that can handle it.
A specialized facility.
So Microsoft walking away from some of these leases starts to make a lot of sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Because why would you lock yourself into a long-term lease for a data center that can't even run the latest AI hardware?
Yeah, you'd be stuck with obsolete infrastructure.
Exactly.
So this is where Alan Howard comes in. He's a principal analyst at Omdia.
Okay, yeah.
And he was quoted saying that data center capacity planning is a very tricky game.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And he says that the worst possible scenario is having more demand than you have capacity.
Oh, yeah.
So, buying land and getting power is expensive, but it's nothing compared to the money you lose if you can't meet demand.
So if they are walking away from these leases, what are they going to do?
Well, there are a couple of possibilities.
Well,
One is they could build their own data centers.
yeah, from scratch.
From the ground up, exactly.
Purpose built for this new hardware.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And we actually saw reports earlier this year about Microsoft's plans for new data center designs in 2024. Yeah, so they might already be working on this.
Interesting. The other possibility is that they're just looking for, existing data centers,
Yeah.
but ones that are already better suited.
Right, finding the right locations.
It's this kind of hardware.
Yeah, places that can handle the power and cooling needs.
So the timeline here is kind of important too, right?
Oh, yeah, time is definitely a factor.
Omdia says it takes about 24 months to build a new data center.
From scratch, yeah.
Yeah.
Although there was that one exception, xAI's Colossus cluster.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
They built that in 10 months.
That's unbelievable.
But that seems to be an outlier.
Yeah.
Most data centers take a couple of years.
So that means they need to be thinking about this now.
Yeah, they can't wait.
Plus, there are all the supply chain issues and, energy supply.
Getting all the components, making
Yeah.
sure there's enough power.
It's a whole thing.
It's a huge undertaking.
But here's something interesting that the TD Karen report suggests that maybe they're not just building new data centers, maybe they're retrofitting
Oh,
existing ones.
so they're upgrading them
Yeah.
to handle the new hardware.
So like they're installing in-aisle coolant reservoirs,
Okay.
distribution units,
Right.
liquid air heat exchangers.
So they can use existing facilities but make them AI ready?
Exactly.
That's smart.
That's probably a lot faster than building a new data center from scratch.
Definitely a more immediate solution.
But will it be enough in the long run?
That's the question, right?
The report says Nvidia is already talking about 600 kilowatt racks.
Oh, wow.
So even if you retrofit, can it handle that?
That's a lot of power.
Plus, Microsoft already has a bunch of Hopper GPUs.
Oh, yeah, they've already invested heavily.
So if they're cutting back on OpenAI training,
Right.
they could use that capacity for their own inference workloads.
Or even rent it out to others.
Exactly.
Like they have this whole hidden reserve of computing power.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And Microsoft did release a statement saying they're committed to investing $80 billion
Wow.
in infrastructure in 2025.
That's a serious commitment,
And they said they're confident that they can meet demand.
both now and in the future.
With all the capacity they've added and their strategic adjustments,
So they're not just sitting still.
yeah, they're definitely making
They're
moves.
playing the long game.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
It is.
And all of this really highlights the importance of data management.
Oh, absolutely.
With all this data and all this complex infrastructure.
I need a way to keep it all organized and secure.
Exactly.
And that's where our sponsor StoneFly comes in.
StoneFly.
They're a real pioneer in this space.
Yeah, they're doing some really cool stuff with SAN, NAS,
S3, object compatible storage.
backup and disaster recovery, cloud, AI, security.
The whole package.
They're a really technical company
Yeah, they go deep.
with some very advanced data services.
Yeah, like immutable snapshots, AES 256 encryption,
Synchronous and asynchronous replication,
intelligent tiering,
smart flash cache.
ransomware volume protect.
They've even got patented immutable and air-gapped repositories.
Oh, wow.
And they've got this great compass mirroring technology.
All managed through one user interface.
It's pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, they've thought of everything StoneFly.
And they've got a special offer right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can get $10 immutable and air-gapped backup.
Wow.
Or for $700, $995, you can get a 70 terabyte backup and disaster recovery appliance,
That's a steal.
which you can expand up to 4 petabytes.
That's a lot of storage.
And it's air-gapped and immutable.
So your backups are safe.
And it's compatible with all the major backup solutions.
Like Veeam, Rubrik, Commvault.
And it's got advanced AI with object lockdown technology.
For ransomware protection.
So if you're looking for a way to manage your critical data infrastructure, StoneFly is definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, they're the real deal.
You can reach them at sales@stonefly.com or visit their website at https://stonefly.com/company. So to sum it all up, Microsoft pulling back on some data center leases, it's not because the AI market is cooling off.
No, it's more about making sure they have the right infrastructure,
Yeah, for the next generation of AI hardware.
which is incredibly power hungry.
It's crazy how fast this technology is moving.
Yeah, it's changing everything.
And it's making us rethink the whole data center game.
For sure.
So what other unexpected bottlenecks or transformations might we see as AI becomes even more a part of our lives?
Yeah, what other innovations are we going to need?
What about energy generation?
Cooling technologies.
New kinds of computer architectures?
This is an exciting time to be watching this space.
It's going to be wild.
That's for sure.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.